Oleg Romantsev was born on November 4, 1954, in Kutaisi, Georgia, which was then part of the Soviet Union. Growing up in the Soviet sporting environment, Romantsev was introduced to football at a young age, with the support of his family, who were passionate about athletics. His talent as a player began to emerge during his childhood, and by his teenage years, he was already making waves in local football circles. Romantsev's playing career began in earnest when he joined the youth team of FC Spartak Moscow, one of the most prominent clubs in the Soviet Union. He quickly moved through the ranks, impressing coaches with his skill, vision, and technical ability. As a midfielder, Romantsev was known for his intelligence on the field, his ability to read the game, and his creativity, which made him a valuable asset to his team. His determination and dedication to the sport led to his eventual rise to the senior team of Spartak Moscow, where he would go on to establish himself as one of the top players in Soviet football during the 1970s and 1980s. Romantsev's time at Spartak was marked by consistency and reliability. He played with the club from 1972 until 1982, making over 200 appearances and winning multiple titles with the team. His technical ability and strong passing game earned him recognition across the Soviet Union, and he was frequently called up to the national team. National team career. Romantsev's performances at Spartak earned him a place in the Soviet Union national team. From 1976 to 1980, Romantsev represented his country on the international stage, participating in key international tournaments, including the UEFA European Championship. While his national team career was relatively brief, his presence in the Soviet midfield was always noted for its sharpness and creativity. His time with the national team was a reflection of his high standing in Soviet football during this period, though injuries and the team's fluctuating fortunes often saw him play a supporting role in some campaigns. Transition to coaching. The beginning of coaching. Career. Romantsev's playing career came to a close in 1982, and with it, his transition into coaching began. It was a natural next step for a player with his tactical awareness and deep understanding of football. He began his managerial career in the Soviet lower leagues before returning to Spartak Moscow, where his coaching journey truly began to take shape. In the early 1990s, following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the footballing landscape in Eastern Europe was undergoing significant changes. Romantsev's tactical insight and leadership potential were evident, and in 1994, he was appointed head coach of Spartak Moscow. The appointment marked a pivotal moment in Romantsev's career, as he was to take the reins of one of the most prestigious clubs in Russia during a period of intense competition and growth in the Russian Premier League. Career peak and achievements. Success at Spartak Moscow, 1994-2003. Oleg Romantsev's managerial career reached its zenith during his time at Spartak Moscow, where he enjoyed tremendous success in Russian football. His approach to coaching was grounded in discipline, strategic thinking, and fostering a strong team ethos. Romantsev's ability to build teams that were tactically organized, disciplined, and highly effective was a major factor in his success. Under his leadership, Spartak Moscow became the dominant force in Russian football, winning multiple Russian Premier League titles. His tactical philosophy was built around a strong defensive structure paired with quick, counter-attacking football. Romantsev was known for his emphasis on youth development, helping to bring through young talents such as Roman Pavlyuchenko and Yegor Titov, who would go on to represent Russia at international level. Romantsev's success at Spartak was not limited to domestic titles. He also helped the club achieve notable success on the European stage. Spartak Moscow regularly participated in the UEFA Champions League, with Romantsev's team often reaching the latter stages of the competition. The 1995-1996 UEFA Cup, in which Spartak reached the semi-finals, was one of the highlights of his European campaigns. Under Romantsev, Spartak was a consistent presence in European club football, with the manager achieving a level of tactical sophistication that earned respect beyond Russia. His ability to balance the demands of domestic and European competition was a hallmark of his career, and he made Spartak one of the most feared teams in Europe. Key achievements at Spartak Moscow: Russian Premier League titles, Romantsev won a total of 6 league titles with Spartak Moscow: 1994, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999, and 2001, solidifying his legacy as one of the most successful managers in Russian football history. Russian Cup. Under Romantsev, Spartak also won the Russian Cup multiple times, further enhancing his reputation. UEFA competitions. Romantsev led Spartak to the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup in 1996, and the club consistently competed in the Champions League, making it to the group stages and beyond on several occasions. Youth development. Romantsev was instrumental in the development of young Russian players, several of whom went on to have successful careers with both club and country. His time at Spartak was not without challenges, particularly in the final years of his first tenure, but his ability to maintain a high level of performance and his capacity to rebuild teams when necessary ensured his place as a legendary figure in Russian football. Later years and departure from Spartak and return to coaching. Romantsev's tenure at Spartak Moscow ended in 2003, following a period of disappointing results in the Russian Premier League. Despite his earlier successes, Romantsev was dismissed after failing to achieve the same level of dominance in his final seasons. This marked the end of his first era at Spartak. But it was not the end of his managerial career. In 2004, Romantsev returned to coaching with FC Torpedo Moscow, where he hoped to revitalize a club struggling to regain its former glory. However, his time at Torpedo was short-lived, and he soon parted ways with the club after a disappointing run of results. Romantsev's reputation in Russia remained strong, and he was later appointed as the manager of the Russian national team in 2005. His second stint as national team manager was more difficult than his time at Spartak, with inconsistent results and pressure mounting as the team failed to qualify for major tournaments under his leadership.